Hello and welcome to All My Art and Soul. I'm Michelle Holden, and this week is Mixed Media Abstract in Twos Part 2. Last week, I think I applied about 6 layers, and this is after the second pass. So I'm sort of showing you some pictures at the end, at the beginning, and the end. So you get to see these, see them in more detail. And of course, this is the same palette, light blue, Titan buff, turquoise, yellow ochre, black, white, and I used a little bit of black, not nickel azo, but I think I'm going to need that. I think I'm going to need one more pass of a few more collage papers and some staining. But that'll be in part 3, and with a little discussion as to this particular process, how it's changing, and how I make my collage papers. So stay tuned for part 3 next week, and I'm going to show you how there's certain lines that I'm looking for, certain things, certain features, marks, and I'm now finding a little more unity with this particular series. This was an exploration for larger work coming up in the summer, so I'm really liking where it's going. So as I'm showing you the materials I'm going to use, as you can see, I thought I would try some images. Those particular images, I found I like the colors, and I might even give that a try. I'm liking how, I guess it's fractaled, there's images, there's a sense of natural elements. I'm using it more as an element rather than an image. So it's sort of getting these, and I'm using the grid armature, which is sometimes I start it as stripes or horizontal areas, then it moves into a quadrant if I rotate it, and then it ends up with grids after I start applying the collage papers. So that's what I've been doing. I love text, so I'm gathering those possibilities on the side. And loving the mixture of the ochre and using the brayer of a leftover palette on top of newsprint. It fades wonderfully, it cuts sharp edges. I love how it tears and makes that edge. And I love its neutral. Sorry, I have a cold. So my brain isn't working as quickly as it should. Just the neutral background. So I'm just going to take it easy with my voice, because the more I talk, the more I sense a cough is coming, and I'm just going to let you enjoy, and I'll just chime in once in a while. I may even put a very faint background music on when I'm not talking, but we'll see how it goes. So right away, I've got to chime in. And what did I end up doing? Oh, yeah. So I have them in front of me while I'm doing my voiceover, and I already have the next step where I want to go. I haven't glued them yet. I'm just placing these last really special pieces of collage. And I notice it's very airy, but look how the eye goes right off the edge at the top. I love the soft approach, but it's going to need something at the top. And let's see, what one is this one? Yes, so I end up using, oh yeah, that paper is there. It looks like it's still beige at the top, but I end up putting on some of that collage paper that I just used leftover paint and rolled with the brayer. I love that. I seem to be using that more and more, and maybe even staining it a little bit with the nickel azo and rubbing it off. So I'm going to give that a try. I've tried several pieces of collage for the upper right hand edge, and it's just not working. So I'm moving the eye down, and I'm balancing that little bit of ochre that's on the left with the right, going more solid in a stronger hue. So now I'm seeing some of these rectilinear shapes, and I'm going to come right across. Don't end up liking it, but you've got to start somewhere. I know what I was doing. It was too busy. There's too many patterns going on. I love them. There's a lot of different horizontal lines, and I didn't really like that, so I thought, okay, instead of rubbing it totally off, let's use the brayer. And the brayer is great for lifting. So here comes the nickel azo with the yellow ochre, just to make it stronger below. And I end up finding a really nice similar color piece of collage that I put in the lower left hand corner there, lifting with some paper towel. And remember to put a good layer of, you can use matte. I've had some questions lately. Is it better to use matte or gloss? I think for wipeability, the gloss is the best, and I use a heavy gloss medium. The other is okay, but I'm finding for the newsprint paper, since it's so absorbent, it absorbs more. The heavy gloss is better. So I've been eyeing these really neat old diagrams. Like I keep saying, I have not had time to go to my bookstore and enjoy and find some more. And this was a book of all the old bridges that have been, I think, world bridges, right from ancient history up to modern day. And I really like that symbolism, so that's why I use it. Any kind of really cool diagram with the text would really go well right here. But I really wanted this one. And I think the dimensions for this are slightly more than 8 by 8. I think it's 8.5. I think I'm really going to have to, because I always have trouble finding mats that fit. And I want them, I like a wide mat around my collage if it's going to be framed. And going, since there's lots of nice black in this, it would look great with a black frame. Even a natural wood frame with a very wide 4-inch mat. I could crop a little bit, but I probably really should just go 8 inches right to the edge. And then when I mat it, only a little bit of the edge will end up disappearing. So then I won't end up cropping it so much. So I'm wondering what to do. Those lines again, and that's what's coming up next week. So I'm going to start breaking down my videos even into show you an end product and then show you different ways of the pieces that I've used to make them, the different types of layers, and really start breaking it down and which layer to use next. That was, oh, what a mystery. And what I've found out is it just depends on the effect you're going for. And I have to do a lot more experimenting on the combinations of the different layers. And that's the fun part. Here's this little piece. which is just this was the aluminum pipe aluminum pipe piece that is a lot rougher. So it makes a more rugged type of circle on the deli paper, of course. And no, those lines aren't working. They resemble too closely of those lines below. So dots or something else would look better. So here comes the piece again. So I'm realizing I need to, yes, over there, no, no, no. And it goes way over on the left. Perfect. Still making my decision. There it goes. It fits perfectly because it's balancing those circles, the black circles on the far right. Now, that would have worked now that I see that. Darn. That probably would have worked better. Yeah, too cool. So, in the end, I might even make another one go, so you've got a sort of solid organic circles, and then going horizontal, and I might make these go vertical to bring the eye down. So I think, see, watching your videos, I tell you, it's amazing. All right. And the scribbly line piece under that circle that's on the right, that's newsprint paper again. I used the water-soluble graphite, just scribbled on it, did a whole bunch of stuff, and just let it fade, and then tore it up into all sorts of cool pieces. Here comes this piece. So it's just a random, just rolled with whatever leftover, similar, of course, palette, which then is great because then you've got all of this material with if you're using a minimal palette, and that's what I like. But I'll get tired of this after a while, and I need to go back into my abstract art journaling. I have some pages left in my 9x10 and also in my 11x14, so I really want to get those done. And then I'm going to think about starting another couple of books over the summer, and probably make a book with all of those images, with, I guess, some text, sort of my first book that I'm going to start writing, putting together. So you've heard it first, right here. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I'm going to pick the best, of course. I don't know how many images I need. Let me know. How many images should I put in my book? I'd like text on one side and the image on the other, and sort of musings and thoughts about all sorts of cool things. So let me know in the comments below. And here's this piece, which it was so thick and very bumpy, it was not going to. Now, if I soaked it in a bit of water, it would have worked. That was it's a heavier stock paper, but I soaked it in coffee, and wow, does it ever turn out really cool. So I realized I better wipe that thick off before it stays that way. The image there is a cornfield, so with the blue, and I like its minimalism. And I still might end up using a section of that. But I don't like to put too many images conflicting with each other. So that's the thing. Corrugated cardboard from anything, packing. I usually get this stuff from packing material. So I probably didn't use thick enough. I added too much water to my brush, and it just sort of didn't do anything. So I didn't like it, so I took it off there. Changed my mind. And I'm glad I did, because I have enough of that on the right. So that is also made from my jelly plate printer with raw umber and my catalyst wedge, the toothed catalyst wedge. Those products are amazing. And so are ordinary kitchen materials and the bowl scraper, because it has, and I don't have one, it has a sharper edge to it. So I really want to get that, because you can use it for your lines. And working on collage, it's small. So I tried the painter's edger. It's just too big with these pieces. It would be great on canvas, which I'm going to use. Let me know what you use to make line with paint as a resist. Do you use tape? How successful is that? What kind of painter's tape do you use? I think the frog is still the best. It's not going to lift things up and away. So now I have my Stencil Girl stencils, and I think I need to order some, or, I'm going to make my own. I'm just going to use cardstock and use them on my jelly plate printer with some tracing paper or deli wrap and see what happens. There's certain marks I'm wanting. So these are my own images of my area. I love the starkness of the fall, or mostly the fall over the early spring. And it's just some trees with no leaves, bare trees. And then love this piece. I have to print some more of these. Now this is just copy printer. I do believe, though, laser paper printed is probably a better quality to use in your art as a collage. And you can also scratch it up a bit with some sandpaper, and it has that scratchy look, so it's pretty cool. So I'm going to print some of those. I just know I wanted some kind of image in this piece, but I just didn't know what. So I don't end up using this, probably because, but you can see if you started with black and white marks and paint and using a very high contrast within using this as an element with the interesting tree shapes that you could emulate or echo repeat throughout your piece, I think would be really cool. So I'm going to make sure I try that. And also, as I said, keeping notes, especially for new ideas. I have so many notebooks, it's crazy. But I have little tabs in them. They're all updated. I haven't written in them because I felt I haven't really needed to, but these recent ideas that I just talked about, I better write them down before I forget them. And that's the greatest thing about an art journal or any kind of explorative journal. You can fill it full of all your collage papers that you want to use. You even cut a piece so you remember exactly what you want to make again, and write down just what you did, just briefly, so you can remember anything to jog your memory, the ideas, the feeling you're looking for, all of those things. I just love art journaling, especially abstract art journaling, and that's what I do. I think I'm just going to call myself an abstract art journaler. That is the ghost print after using the catalyst wedge and getting the solid blue. And I find ghost prints turn out better than the first one, mostly because it's the negative. And it's now this is taking shape, and as you can see, the grid and all the lines, vertical, horizontal, would be a great difference. And so now I'm going to be putting in a little yellow ochre, just some more horizontal dashes, just to emulate, I was thinking water. So now I'm just softening the hard edge there. I don't know if I really needed to do that, looking at it now. I sort of liked how it defined that area. But you can always come back to that and change it. So now back to the other piece. So what happened here is there's a little section that every once in a while I'll start to download and then it won't download. It was about 5 minutes. And it stopped. I ran out of battery power right in the middle of those black on blue. I wanted to continue from the white and with that little copper pipe. And then I thought, well, that's okay. So I'll just let it charge up while I'm just doing something else. So I went to work on my other table, on my other series, the ones with the images and the colors here that I'm exploring with. But these turned out the others are very different, a lot more airy, and I'm really liking those. If you're here for the first time, in my Facebook group, I show you sneak peeks of my upcoming series and different things that I'm working on that, at least for now, aren't on my YouTube channel. They will end up there, but you're first to see them. And I show little tips on. There was a suggestion from a subscriber on how do I take a collage on paper and mount it on a cradle board or a birch panel. And I have a ton of those. I thought I recorded that process, but apparently I did not. It was before I started this heavy-duty recording everything I do. So I will be doing that in the near future, not this week, but definitely once I finish these mixed media abstract in 2s, I'm going to show you what you can do. I will need to crop these pieces, but hopefully I won't lose the important parts. Only about a 1/2 inch or so. Now, what I'm doing with this is that going over, it's an image of water, and I do believe in the spring, the sun changes its angle and all of this sparkling water shows up. I live right beside the water, and it's amazing. And it always comes up so purple and dark sepia and everything. But it turns out just like an art element, and I continuing to write over it or to make marks over it, and I'm really liking that effect. So, you can see with the dots over the black lines in the sort of halfway on the left, I sort of have the same thing going on, but in a different way. So this is what is that? Not light blue. It could be teal. I think it's the teal, the golden teal. And I'm just continuing a few marks. adding a darker value or a more saturated value at the top, which I'm not sure I like what I was doing there, but I'm trying to stop the eye from going up off the edge. But I solved that in a different way in part 3. So I decided, nope, let's leave it. And that's it for this pass. So it's the second pass of Mixed Media Abstract in 2s. Don't forget to hop on over and take a peek at the Facebook group. And have a great creative day. And I will see you in the next video. Please subscribe and share. Thank you, and see you in the next one.